Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I'm going to be sharing my unmedicated home birth story with you today, which is so exciting because there's so much fear and stigma around birth, and I just don't subscribe to it, and I just haven't subscribed to it from the very beginning. I don't think that there are definitely situations where birth can go in different directions. It takes a different path to plan, but I don't know. I think I had this birth. I know I had this birth due to the preparation I put into my mindset. I really, really focused so heavily my first pregnancy on my mind and my mindset and the beliefs and the limits and the stories that I held around birth and becoming a mother. That was a huge focus for me, as well as regulating my nervous system, which I have spoken about potentially if I've released those episodes yet, depending when I put this one out. But yeah, I wanted to share my home birth story because we originally didn't plan a home birth and then we changed plans, and I'm going to get into all of that. I just want to quickly say, if you aren't already following my show on Spotify, can you please go and do that, because this podcast has been landing so well for so many mums. It's so cool. I've been getting so many messages. I'm like, oh my god, guys, stop. But when you follow my show, it just means that it can reach even more mums who might need to hear this exact story right now, because like I said, there's lots of stigma around birth, and I just don't think it has to be so heavily focused on the negatives. We get to actually shift our mindset and have a belief within our body and trust in our body that it gets to be what we want it to be. So I'm going to start with when I was pregnant. We went through private midwifery practice. That was really important to me. We discussed that prior to falling pregnant, that would be the path that we would go down, because I personally am just someone who doesn't like my space being invaded. I'm sure a lot of people don't, but some people are okay with for example, getting a pap smear or something. I'm someone who I'm oh my god, that actually gives me it freaks me out. I just don't like people in my space. So we knew that we were always going to have a private midwife. That was always on the cards. So we went and found our private midwife, but we were originally going to do a hospital birth, and I was always I never fully envisioned myself giving birth in a hospital. I my whole life, I knew I was going to be a mum and wanted to be a mum, but I could just never envision myself in a hospital. It was so strange. And then it got to say 20 weeks pregnant, and Jai was to me, because I was really procrastinating doing our birth plan, and he was I remember I was in the shower and he was hey, we should really do our birth plan. We've got to talk to the midwife about it next week or something. And can I just add, Jai is not that is not Jai in our relationship. He's not the organized on top of things person. So it was just that's how much I was procrastinating it, guys. And I just broke down, and I was just I can't write a birth plan that doesn't feel aligned. I can't give birth in a hospital. And then we spoke to a couple that we met through the midwife practice, and they were already planning a home birth, and I guess Jai getting to chat to them and the guy of the partnership, they it really helped Jai, because it was oh, okay, another guy that they had done a lot of research and everything, really helped Jai feel at ease about a home birth. And we've both realized quite quickly it aligned with both of our values a lot more than birthing in a hospital. We live on such a beautiful property and on acreage on the Sunshine Coast, which is just so stunning. Literally have just the river at our back door, mountains surrounding us. Oh my gosh, it's just so stunning, and it's the most beautiful, serene place to give birth. Not that you're really looking at your around out there when you're giving birth, but I don't know, the energy of my house, I love it here. It's my home. It's just so special. I feel so safe here. So it just actually made sense for us to birth here. Plus we're 40, just over 40 minutes from the hospital where you have to birth at. So that's also a long freaking drive. Really, I would hate to be in a car having contractions and stuff. So yeah, that's how we sort of pivoted to home birth because it just was not feeling aligned at all. Then that was all good. That was all well and good. Like the midwives can assist a home birth. It just meant that we had 2 midwives at the home birth, and it was honestly really quite seamless. Like I had my like weekly appointments. This was towards the end because like you have like monthly, then fortnightly, then weekly, and like at 36 weeks they drop off the birthing pool and all of the medication that needed to be in the fridge for if something was to happen, like the fake oxytocin and like anything, I don't know, the different medications for like stopping hemorrhaging or whatever the hell else might be happening. They also had like the oxygen for myself and for the baby, and yeah, really well trained midwives for like if anything was to happen, which made me feel really good because it was like, okay, if anything was to go pear-shaped, they are trained to see the signs and we're okay. It just felt really good, and I was able to be in my own home. So let's fast forward to 39 weeks and 6 days, so the day before my due date. It is dinner time. I'm eating lamb chops and mashed potato, watching the sunset with Jai. So freaking exhausted. Like, I remember sitting there like, Jai, I can barely lift my arms up. Like, I'm so tired. And I went to bed at like 7:30. And this is also like the middle of summer, by the way. So like, yeah, like, no, not that that even matters. I don't even know why. I have baby brain so bad sometimes, guys. What the heck? Why would that even matter? Anyway, 7:30 I went to bed, and then at like literally 9 p.m, like almost on the dot, Jai opens the bedroom door. The exact moment he opens the bedroom door to come to bed, and I cannot make this shit up, the exact moment he opens the bedroom door to come to bed, I wake up because I feel like someone has just flicked me in my pubic bone so hard that it's like I heard the pop. I didn't hear the pop. I just felt the pop, and I like sit up, and he just looked at me like, oh my god, what the heck? Because it was like he was so quiet, and it was just the exact moment he stepped in the room. It was crazy, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think something just happened. I think my waters might have just broken, and I like go to the toilet, and I'm just like I remember it felt like I was peeing, but like I wasn't peeing. Do you know what I mean? It was like I could hear the peeing, but it was like it was my waters releasing. So then that happened, and I remember we had this like moment of like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting, and then we had this moment of like, holy fuck, we're about to be parents. And I remember being like, oh my goodness, like, wait, the day is finally here, like, okay. And then I also had a thought in my mind, because I did know that like if your waters release early, it's because the baby is like potentially not in a good position. So I was like, okay, that's in the back of my mind. What can I do to like, I'm not going to like fall into like a space of like freaking out and being like, oh my god, everything's going wrong. And I'm also not going to freak out and be like, oh my gosh, call my midwife, like blah, blah, blah. Because I also knew, especially being a first time, there's no point calling my midwife my waters break when I'm not even having any contractions. I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling good. Like I wasn't going to take a night's sleep away from her if I didn't have to. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, that happened, and there was like the excitement, and then I was like, I knew the best thing I could do was just go back to bed. So literally I went back to bed. I listened to hypnobirthing affirmations just on YouTube. Like I really loved the like Christian ones. I'm not Christian, but I do believe in like a higher source, and I just always speak to like my angels and God, and like I really resonated with them. It made me feel really supported. So I listened to those just like in my headphones, and I think I just like laid with potentially no I just literally went to sleep and just like laid with my leg, like I think I was like slightly doing the Miles circuit, you know, like the one when you're kind of lying on your tummy. Anyway, and then I think I woke up the next morning, say around 5, no, it was about like 5ish, I think, and I was like, oh yes, like oh my gosh, my waters broke, and I was like, I know I'm meeting my baby boy today. And also I'd always envisioned, Jai and I both actually, that like we were gonna have our baby in the daytime, and I had this like actual dream like a couple of months before I gave birth of like me in the birth pool in like the room, like the dining room, and the sun was setting, and Jai was like bear hugging me and the baby, and we were just like, oh my gosh. And that is exactly what ended up happening, which is just freaking crazy. Like a mother's intuition nothing can compare. Anyway, so I woke up the next morning at like 5, and I was like, okay, by the way, through the night, I think I'd had to change pads a few times, that I think I ended up just wearing like one of those adult nappies, because my waters were just slowly like releasing, and just like, it was just a lot. It seemed like a lot. So yeah, and then I called my midwife, I think, or I just texted her actually at like 5, and I was like, hey, just letting you know, like, my waters broke last night, like everything's all good, like I haven't had any contractions, like feeling really good, feeling really calm, feeling really just like, whatever, I'm just vibing out. And she called me straight away, and she was like, okay, like, since you're not having any contractions, I'm not going to rush over. And I think she ended up getting to my house at like 8:30 that morning. And like, just in the time like leading up to her getting there, I just ended up coming into, I had like the spare room kind of set up like a little cave. Like I had like my red light in here, my birthing affirmation flags. I had like a couple of little snacks, because I had like my little labor basket set up, and it was just a nice safe space that just felt good. I had my peanut ball in here. I had my big bouncy ball, the big ones that like pregnant people sit on, and I also had like a eye mask and things like that. So this was the room that was like set up, yeah, like that. I was really craving that cave, like internal feeling when I was envisioning my labor and birth prior. So that really came useful. And then when my midwife arrived at like 8:30, she like checked his position, and lo and behold, he was posterior, which is spine to spine, which is like not an ideal birthing position. It can be super painful, and it can be just like not ideal, really. Like you want them to be the opposite to posterior. I'm like, I can't even think of what that would be called right now. I think it's like OA. Whatever. That's not what we're here to talk about. So yeah, she was like, oh, he's posterior. That can like really, it can basically mean like a lengthy labor, like painful labor, a lot of back pain, all that. And I was just like, okay, like no worries. I literally just like actually had no fear. Like I was just like, in my head, I was just thinking, that's just not my truth. Like I actually just like was like, I'm just not having that as my truth. Like, thank you for your assessment, but like it's just actually not true for me. So and like when she was here, I was literally fine. Like she even said to me, oh, so like the hospital policy, because they go through the hospital policy, even though it was at home, is like after, I think it's like 18 hours or something, you have to go on like antibiotics, and then like probably wouldn't get your home birth. And also she was like, we're not going to be seeing this baby today, like he's blah blah blah, you're fine, blah blah blah. And she left. And then when she was like sort of leaving as well, like Jai also went out. He went to the shops to get just like a bunch of different things that I needed, and a pine cone, because guys, the pine cone I used instead of a birthing comb. 10 out of 10. He was off on his little mission getting pine cone and whatever else I had on the list. I think I had Vegemite and sourdough. I don't know. That's just yum. So good. Anyway, he's out. I'm home alone. And I start sort of getting like a little bit of just like sensation. Like I wouldn't even say it's anything more than a sensation. It wouldn't even be a bad period cramp. It would be like a mild period cramp. Like, I don't know, it was just like, okay, there's like movement, there's something going on, So I'm just rolling with it. I'm just like, all right, well, maybe something is happening. Wow. Wow, I really didn't think anything was going to be happening. Like, I totally was like, this baby's coming today. Anyway, and then it was like lunchtime. We're going to fast forward, say 11:30, and then I was in the shower when Jai got home, and it was starting to happen. It was starting to get real. And by 12, I'm in active labor. So like, you got to think that's like really fast. Like I went from literally like nothing to some mild period pain to active labor. Like I quite literally just basically just went like skip, like I'm going to active labor. And yeah, that was 12 o'clock. Active labor began. Jai made me my Vegemite on toast. Do you think I wanted Vegemite on toast? No, I could barely focus on anything. So I actually spent a lot of time I remember a lot of time on the toilet, because I knew that that was where you dilate really fast. I was really comfortable there. But I also, Jai said that like a lot of my labour was between the toilet, the shower floor, and our bedroom floor. So apparently I was like evenly kind of in those areas. But basically, yeah, just went into active labour. Jai just actually was so incredible. Like, oh my gosh, like the way he just completely stepped into his masculine and was like holding the space for me was literally unreal. Could not have done it without him. Like, I 110% would not have had the journey and the experience I had if I didn't have my incredible partner there holding that space for me. Like, I remember there was literally a point where I was like, babe, I can't do this. And he was like, you're literally doing it. Like, suck it up and just keep going. And I'm like, thank you. Like, thank you so much. Like, he obviously said it in a really nice way. But, like, basically when he also gets home, he, like, sees the state I'm in. And he was like, okay, she's just gone into, this is getting fucking real. He literally grabs my, like, affirmations, hangs them on the toilet wall. He's like, you know, just doing his best, doing everything he can. I remember he brought me like some watermelon, the toast. He's like got water there. He's like making sure everything's all good. He's like holding me. Oh my gosh, just everything. Like, just everything I needed, everything I didn't know I needed. He was timing my contractions and just being everything I needed. And I remember he called. Also, we tried the TENS machine. Literally, it was too late because you're supposed to put that on before your contractions get hectic, but because like my labor it actually just was like zero to 100. Like, we didn't even really get the chance to try them out. I remember Jai put the TENS machine on and I was like, can you fucking turn it on? And he's like, it's on the highest setting. And I was like, no, it isn't. I can't feel it. And then we like took the patches off, like we tried, and then we realized, oh my gosh, we've put it on too late. And like we kind of realized like, oh, this actually is real. Anyway, Jai had like contacted the midwife and like let her know, oh, I think like she's in active labor. And Megan was kind of like, oh, okay, like, you know, because it's the first time, like, it's so rare it goes that quickly. And then I wasn't like losing lots of blood, but okay, basically I was dilating really, really fast. So then there was like some blood while I was dilating, but it wasn't like running blood. It was like maybe just like little clots kind of thing. So he was like a little bit concerned about that. And then my midwife was like, put a pad on, wear that for a little bit, and then blah, blah, blah. And then I think I had it on for like 20 minutes, and then Jai took a photo of it, sent it to her, and then she like came straight here. And then she got here an hour before Kodak was born, I think. I was also someone who was like, oh, I really don't want cervical checks. And then she got there and she was like, would you mind? And I was like, please, please check, because I just wanted to know what the hell is going on. I remember I was on my bedroom floor when she got there, and I was literally like, I was in transition. Oh, wait, I'm skipping. Let me go back a little bit. When I was in the shower, I remember, because I'd gone shower, toilet, whatever. But there was one point when I was in the shower, Jai had already called the midwife. She was coming, and I said to him, Jai, the midwife needs to get here. You need to tell her. I think she was like coming, but not rushing yet. And I said, you need to tell her this baby is about to get here. Like, I'm basically holding him in. My body had started to go to like the pushing, and I just knew he was there, but I was like not going with the pushing because I was like, oh, what if I've got cervical lip, whatever, like that. There was that just come through for me. And it was funny because then postpartum in a kinesiology session, it came up that like I did that, and like my body was like, had a moment of distrust. So it's actually really interesting. But I remember that moment in the shower, and I was like, he's about to get here, like she needs to get here. Anyway, then I was in the bedroom when she got here, and she did the cervical check, and she was like, you are well and truly 10 centimeters. And she actually checked twice because she couldn't even believe it. And then as this is happening, she's basically like to Jai, we need to start getting water in that birthing pool right now, because everything happened so fast. Like, we had the birthing pool set up, but there was no water in it because, like, you know, it just happened so quickly. Anyway, the birthing pool's filling up and I was like hesitant. I was like, I'm not sure if I want the water. And then I was like, I need the water. And then my midwife was like, you're not going to make it to the water. And I was like, I'm stubborn as hell. girl, I'm going to make it to the water. I will hold on to him. I held on to him. I will hold on. I'll keep holding on. And then I'm in the bedroom and I'm just going with it now. So like I knew it was okay to start like really going with the urge to push. And I was just like feeling really like, slay, I'm actually going to see my baby boy soon. And like, oh my gosh, I don't think I said this before. I was in transition so hard when like my midwife arrived that I literally remember she walked in and I was like, had a contraction, held onto her, and I said, take me to the hospital and cut me open. I need to have a cesarean. Like, I cannot do this. And she was like, girl, it's too late. Like, we're here, we're doing it. So I did have a few moments of that, like, oh, because also, like, holy crap, you would know if you're a mom. It doesn't matter how you give birth, whether it was through natural, whether it was like induction, whether it was bloody cesarean. It does not matter how you give birth, but you know that it's like, holy crap, I can't believe my body just did that. Like, you know, it's like this disbelief. So, anywho, skipping back to the part where she said, you're not going to make it to the water. And I was like, I am absolutely going to make it to the water. I made it to the water. So I walked up the hallway and I get to the end of the hallway and all I do is like look out the window and there's like so across the river from our house is a campground. And I am there with a baby's head coming out of my vagina, looking like an absolute hot mess. I look to my left and I think, because you also have this moment as well when you're like, going from like, in that transition phase, like before your baby comes, like where you start getting really alert of your surroundings, like you go from like being fully in your like birthing brain to like, okay, this is my environment. And I remember looking to my left and going, Jai, why the freaking hell are the awnings up? All of those campers are going to see me. Like, put them down. Which, like, they wouldn't actually have been able to see me. Like, it's too far, but, you know, I didn't really want that in case they could. And then I look at the birthing pool, and I literally look at my midwife, and I'm like, how the heck am I supposed to get in that pool? Because it just looked like it was, like, 2 meters high, and I'm short. And she literally was like, dive. I was like, girl, what the hell? Anyway, I ended up getting in there. And I was in, like, the position where I was, like, on my knees and, like, leaning forward over the side of the birthing pool. But yeah, I'm like in there, like he's starting to come, like crowning, like whatever. It was honestly so beautiful. It was just so perfect. Like, I'm not sure, this is like TMI, but like, you know, people talk about orgasmic birth and I quite literally had that. Like, it doesn't mean I didn't orgasm through my birth, but I felt the sensations of just like euphoria of bliss, and my body was really like, I wasn't feeling pain, I was feeling pleasure. It was just this freaking incredible feeling. I've never felt like so intensely. It was honestly amazing. I was really just focusing on my breath and just like connecting into my lower deep core muscles and just like being present in my body. And between each, because like the way it works as well is you like have your contraction and you push and then you hold and then like you're just in la beautiful slay, well this was my experience anyway, land where you're just like, oh, like I'm about to meet my baby, this is just sick. And literally Jai, I'm not even kidding you, like, so the second midwife arrived like just 10 minutes before Kodak was actually born. She walks in and Jai goes, does anyone want a cappuccino? So I literally can remember that like I'm there pushing our baby out, and in the moments that like he ran over every single time I had a contraction, but I was honestly like so good, like I was like, I am so good, like I know you're there, but like he's just there, like, you know, got the coffee grinder going, bloody pouring shots of coffee, spinning the milk, making cappuccinos, and I'm like, it's just so freaking funny. Like, you're gonna host them, and it's just so funny they said yes to a coffee as well. Anyway, pretty much, yeah, then I gave birth to Kodak. I remember I had a contraction, his head was out, and then the next one, his whole body came. It's like your whole body just like, my whole body just like ejected him. He had like his arm on his face, so like when that came out, it scratched me internally a little bit, which was like just a little bit of like a graze, but that's like literally it. It was incredible. Giving birth, I feel like I've seen so many like, oh, it felt like this, it felt like this. I actually do think it feels like an octopus. It's like the weirdest feeling because it's just like, bloop, I don't know. yeah, then I had a water birth, so I kind of sat back and then he was just floating in the water, and this was maybe 30 seconds. And I was like, oh, what the fuck just happened? And they were like, grab your baby. But I also knew, like, when he's in the water, because he hasn't, like, actually touched the air, he's all good. And I, like, pick him up, and I just remember being, like, holding him in my arms and just being like, wait a second, I just did this? Like, it was just like, this is mine? Like, sorry? Like, who put this baby here? It's just like the most surreal feeling in the world, and the best feeling in the world, the most beautiful feeling in the world. And yeah, I feel like that's my birth story, guys. Like, 3 hours all up. I should add, sorry. So I went into active labour at 12, like around about 12, and he was born at 3:05 p.m. And the most ironic thing about this is 3 p.m. was the cutoff time that they said I would have had to get the antibiotics. So my waters broke at 9 p.m. the night before, and then I had him at 3 p.m. the next day. And when I tell you I am stubborn as hell, like, the proof is in the pudding. I was like, I'm having my home birth. And I didn't even, like, actually mention this, but my contractions, because my labour was so quick, mine were quite on top of each other. Like, I wasn't really experiencing too much of that, like, the wave comes in, the wave goes out. It was like, okay, the tsunami is here. There's a break for you. Okay, she's back. But, you know, connecting to my breath, and I just kept on going, repeating in my head, my body is built to birth. My body is built to birth. Like, I got through it. It was fine. I wouldn't even say it was, I think I imagined it would have been more painful. It was painful, but it had a purpose. You know what I mean? Like, it was, like, amazing. And like I said, the actual birthing part was euphoric and, like, pleasurable and incredible. I just spent a lot of time connecting to my breath throughout the whole thing and really dialing into my body, to my baby, rather than like just my breath. I was like sending my breath down and like really giving it a purpose. Another thing I'll add is in that 3 hours, or in the time since my midwife had checked his position, he flipped to the perfect position, so he wasn't posterior. And also, they say when they are posterior, you get lots of back pain. The only place I felt my contractions, my entire labour, was my stomach. That's the only place. Nowhere else on me was hurting. It was just my stomach. It was like, it felt like I'd eaten Chinese that had been left on the bench overnight. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like really bad, like poo pains. That's literally what it felt like. So, yeah. That was my birth story with my darling Kodak. And it was just so incredible. And I really hope, like, listening to this, whether you are yet to give birth, or maybe you've given birth and you're hoping for a different outcome next time, or maybe you're just listening because you're interested, like, I just hope this, like, allows you to, like, reshape your thoughts if you have fear around it, because it all does come back to your mind. And, like, it doesn't mean that right now, if you have fear going into birth, that that's going to make you have a bad birth. There's always time, and there's always opportunity to shift your perspective, and it can literally just start with, like, a morning affirmation. My body is built to birth. My labor is going to go smoothly and calmly. You know, like, things like that. Like, you're not, like, robbed of your time or out of time if you're due to give birth soon and you think you can't get this experience too, because, like, you 110% can, like, totally can. But yeah, hope you enjoyed my birth story. It was actually really fun to, like, touch on and, like, speak about, and I feel like it flowed really easily, and I can't believe I remembered it so well. I probably missed out, like, a couple of things, but, like, honestly, that's okay. I'll chat to you in the next episode next Monday, and like I said at the start, don't forget, if you're not following my show, click the follow button. I would really appreciate it, and share this with a friend if you feel the call, because, you know, it's really good to hear a positive birth story. I feel like it's really inspirational. Anyway, love you, bye.